Okay, everybody, if you could all hear me clearly, press F in the chat or put in some fireworks emoji since this is a very, very belated New Year's Day stream. And in the meantime, I'm going to be welcoming everybody who has arrived. Plus Blue EP, nice to have you. As well as you too, Daniel. And Norbert, nice to have you here too. As well as you, Super Ready Man. And Jason, nice that you're able to make it. And you too, Inky. And Gator Freaks. I don't remember if I've seen you around, but if you're a new subscriber, then welcome aboard. Okay, so I got confirmation that everybody can hear me just fine. And Jason's thanking me for the nice use of the Millennium promo for Looney Tunes. Yes, with last year being the anniversary of Looney Tunes, I just thought that I include that. And of course, with me being a huge fan of the franchise as a whole, and obviously not the last time I'm going to be talking about it in the stream, as I'm sure some of you would know what is one of the major animation highlights of 2025 I'm going to be talking about. That's okay, Inky. Yeah, you could go do your homework and you could come back either like if the stream is still going or you can watch the full replay. So yes, Gator Freaks confirms that he is a newcomer, and once again, welcome aboard. So yeah, folks, I now have the energy to talk to you guys about what happened in 2025 in terms of animation and just entertainment in general. Like what I did before, I have my fake TV screen, which will show images of whichever highlights I will be talking about, but I'll also encourage you guys to bring up anything that I may have missed, I may be forgetting about, and because, this is a whole casual chat thing that... Oh, okay, so Gator Freak said that he's a big fan of Captain Flamingo too. Oh, that's awesome, yes. And I hope you liked the last drawing that I did based on the show, which you can see on the community tab. And unfortunately, I have not been able to do my New Year's resolution of finishing Captain Flamingo, but I will soon. It's definitely a good show. And what else? Yeah, Super Rayman's asking if there is a new schedule, about the new schedule for Me TV2 happening in February. Yeah, I think I just heard about it on Twitter, and I see that one of the shows that they're showing is the new Space Ghost and Hercules cartoon, which I assume is the Space Ghost cartoon that's from the 80s. Yeah, a lot of people, it's enough that a lot of people forget that Space Ghost is an actual superhero cartoon, like long before the talk show, but a lot of people don't remember that some years after the 60s series, there was one in the 80s, which I've not seen an episode of for myself as far as I can remember, and, well, for one thing, like, Zorak is not in it, and, he's, like, the best character in any incarnation of Space Ghost. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh yeah, Tasmania. Yeah, that's another show that I hear is coming to. That's coming to Me TV Tunes. I haven't seen an episode of Tasmania yet, honestly. But I hear it is generally considered to be a good show, right? It was just when Taz was starting to become more of a merchandising favorite during the 90s. Yeah, I think the last episode of Captain Flamingo that I watched in chronological order, not counting the Christmas special that I reviewed. I'm trying to remember. Also, I can't remember at the moment, but well, I guess technically, I guess we could say that the Christmas episode that I reviewed, which I rewatched for the review, we'll just leave at that as the last episode. Even though as I explained in the review, I was watching the series in rough chronological order. But otherwise, yeah, almost done with it. So get back to it when I'm in the mood. But right now, I'm in the mood to get started with discussing what happened in 2025. And let me turn on my TV screen here. Yes, see? Well, Daffy, I think you're a bit too late on saying that there was some foreshadowing in this stream, but yeah, I was doing some foreshadowing in this stream when I said I was gonna be referring to The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. Now, I'm gonna be safe. I'm not gonna be going into full details on my thoughts on the movie just yet, because I have something planned, but I will leave it at this, that it is a definitely worth the wait, a great movie, and, you know, it's technically a 2024 film, similar to, like, another film that I want to mention too, but, yeah, it's completed in 2024, and it was released in international markets that year, and it was released in Los Angeles in December of 2024, I believe, in order for it to qualify for a possible Oscar nomination. Otherwise, it was officially released in March of 2025 thanks to Ketchup Entertainment, who also was cool enough to save Coyote vs. Acme. So while unfortunately The Day the Earth Blew Up wasn't a massive success, and it seems like only animation nerds like myself and a lot of the other people who are in my circles are really the ones who are like hyping up the movie because, you know, it didn't turn up too much of a profit, but it still ended up being a favorite and proved to be like the Looney Tunes movie that a lot of people have been asking for. Like, there's no live action celebrities, there's no like clips from the classic shorts, it's just a pure original story. Well, it takes inspiration from like science fiction B movies of the past, but otherwise it's a fully original story that has Daffy, Porky, and Petunia saving the Earth from an alien invasion. And not going into any more details of that. And let's see here. Vitamin Nick. Let's see. He's saying that he wrote a letter to the director of Fixed when the movie was sold by Warner Brothers at first. He never wrote back though. It was said, "Oh yeah, don't worry, I'm definitely getting to Fixed in a moment." And so far, let's just see what else I have. Yeah, so Jason and Norbert have both seen The Day the Earth Blew Up on the big screen. Yeah, unfortunately I didn't get to see it on the big screen, I streamed it instead. But, you know, once again, the experience watching it was great. And it's nice that you enjoyed it too, Plus Blue. Oh, and Jerry, what's up? Yeah, I'm doing good. And what else? Oh, Ethan's here, welcome, and you're welcome for the knick-knack sketch. That's definitely posted in the community tab, but yeah, so The Day the Earth Blew Up was available on Crave, which is essentially the Canadian equivalent to HBO Max, so that's where you could stream it here in Canada. It's okay if your brother didn't like The Day the Earth Blew Up, Norbert. I don't know if he is a fan of Looney Tunes in general or not, or I don't know, maybe he had high standards of how a fully animated original Looney Tunes movie would have been like. But, you know, to each their own. And what else? And yes, nice to hear, Jason, that your dad loved the movie. And I also remember doing a drawing for you, Jason, of Porky based in that style of The Day the Earth Blew Up in dedication to your grandpa, I believe. And you said that your grandpa called Porky the little pig who could, since, you know, I haven't got a hat, which was Porky's first short. Yeah, that's the moment that showed that Looney Tunes, and Merry Melodies as well, you know, they're more than just silly symphony wannabes. They will be something like much more unique than that. let's see. And yeah, I did point out in my, review of Time Squad the similarities between, uh, the episode I reviewed, Notorious, the George Washington Carver episode, and the day the Earth blew up. And yes, Alex Kerwin is involved with both of them, with both projects. But yeah, I'm also sorry that your grandpa didn't get to see the day the Earth blew up, Jason. But hopefully he would. Yes, he hopes that he'll like it. He'll like it if he watches it in the afterlife. So yeah, let's hear your thoughts about this movie. So let's go over to the slideshow, see what else is new. Okay, here's the big one, K-pop Demon Hunters. Yes, firstly I just want to say that I'm happy that this movie is the most successful feature on Netflix. The most watched feature, animated or otherwise. Yeah, I must emphasize that it is great that animation has gotten such a huge victory of being, the most watched thing on Netflix. And my thoughts on K-pop Demon Hunters myself, I thought was fine, like when I first watched it, but it didn't compare to like the next movie I'm gonna talk about. But I started to appreciate it even more with the second watching. And yes, I love the songs and I love the animation, and of my favorite members of Huntrix, I'm gonna have to go with Zoe because of how energetic and peppy she is. I think there's even one video that speculates that she may be on the autism spectrum, and yeah, also she kind of reminds me, and I'm sure you'll agree with me with this, Jason, that Zoe is kind of a bit similar to Marcy from Amphibia. In fact, the whole trio is like the Calamity trio of Amphibia. Oh yeah, I remember, Norbert, you have a few of the K-pop Demon Hunter songs on your list of best and worst hit songs of 2025. And just a bit of a spoiler for those who haven't seen Norbert's videos yet, he included how it's done in the worst list. And while I disagree with it, I disagree with his opinion, I respect it otherwise. And, I absolutely like his choices for the best songs of 2025. So yes, wait, let me read more comments. And yes, and don't worry, there will be an in memoriam segment at the end, towards the end of the stream, and that's when you guys could also help me for any names of unfortunate losses that happened in 2025 that I may not think of immediately off the top of my head. Yes, Jason says he likes K-pop Demon Hunters, even though it's not his favorite movie from Sony. And yeah, I agree. Like my favorite movies from Sony Pictures Animation, I love K-pop Demon Hunters, but I wouldn't put it above the first Hotel Transylvania movie, the first Quality with a Chance of Meatballs movies, the Mitchells vs. the Machines, the Spider-Verse movies, especially Across the Spider-Verse, or even the next movie I'm gonna talk about. Yes, here's my boy Bo and his friends going crazy. Yes, Fixed. And yeah, I'm good. Yes, it's a hot take that this is my favorite of the Netflix Sony Pictures animated films that we got in 2025. And I was honestly looking forward to it, or at least very optimistic about it. It's from Genndy Tartakovsky, and by the way, in case you didn't hear it, I do have Dexter's Lab play it in the background. It's gonna be 30 years old this year. And let's see. Yes, so for one, it's from Genndy Tartakovsky, and it has this wonderful cartoony style that's helped by people like Craig Kilman, who worked with Genndy in the past. And it's an R-rated 2D animated feature, which is something that is basically unheard of. And yeah, I know people have been very upset with this film, like having all these debates over whether it's worth watching or not. And it's okay if it's not your cup of tea, but I don't know, maybe at least if you're like 18 or older, give it a chance and see that it's not all just the raunchy humor. Like it's just as much like a funny buddy comedy with Bo and his friends. So yeah, I was like a huge fan of Fix when I watched it on. Well, I was excited for it when I hear that it was saved by Netflix, and but I'll be honest, I don't think I would be as excited for Fixed if it wasn't for me learning in advance, like even before it was saved by Netflix, that a friend to you and me, Joanna Davidovich, was an animator on it, but just for like a couple of scenes, including one with a pair of birds talking, which was definitely one of the tamer scenes in the film. Yeah, she mentioned her involvement back when the movie was shelved, and I'm happy that she was able to share her rough progress of that scene, and that Fix was able to be called out at all, even if not everybody likes it. Oh yeah, I forgot Jim Supper, who you may know was a very great character designer, including on Looney Tunes cartoons. He was uncredited. Like I remember seeing his character posts as a Bo on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm like, oh man, it's a shame that he wasn't credited. And also, it seemed like he could care less because I don't know if he's currently employed in the industry, if he's still unemployed at the moment, but hopefully he does get more work. And yes, and Steven DeStefano. Yes, I totally forgot about him. Yes, he's also another great talent. Yes. And so, okay, just going back to K-pop Demon Hunters, Daniel says that Soda Pop is his favorite song that filled. Cool. Oh, my favorite happens, I guess, yeah, I guess my favorite would be How It's Done. Like, just an accent-packed intro. Let's see, what else is here? Yes, Jason, I heard that Checkered Pass came back at the end of last month after we all thought it was previously ended in last June. Yeah, I heard that they've been rerunning Dexter's Lab and also Ed, and Eddie 2. But with the case of Dexter's, that's really to promote the upcoming season of Primal. I thought that was the intention with it, but I don't know. I wonder if you mean, yeah, I'm trying to wonder if Checkered Pass is back metaphorically or if it's literally back right down to the branding, the logo and the bumpers. If so, oh, that's cool. Well, hopefully they will expand their lineup instead of just the same four shows like Dexter's and Ed's and Kurt's the Cowardly Dog and Billy and Mandy, and occasionally other shows like Evil Con Carne, Cow and Chicken, and the What a Cartoon Show and Cartoon Planet. Like maybe they'll finally air Johnny Bravo. We'll just have to wait and see. And yes, Ethan's mentioned about Smile and Friends Season 3. And yeah, I watched at least some of the third season of Smile and Friends, and it was definitely great. Jason has confirmed that Checkered Pass has returned literally, bumpers and all. That is amazing. Wow, I guess the fan demand was that high for it. And Plus Boo says, somehow, Checkered Pass returned. And let's see here. What's the next thing? Oh, here's Elio. Okay, so yeah. Here's another animated feature that got a lot of unnecessary hate on the internet. While everybody was, as some Gen Z would put it, glazing, which glazing is a term for like overpraising. While people were glazing K-pop Demon Hunters, they would be putting Elio by the side, thinking that the story is mid, and not caring for the so-called bean mouth cow art style. Like the most I've seen about this whole cow art style debate since 2018, back when Thundercats Roar was announced. But yeah, like I didn't want to fall into the bandwagon until I saw Elio for myself. And I don't know if I see the entire movie, but what I have seen, it is definitely good. I mean, it's not better than Inside Out 2, which we got last year, and it's not better than like the some of the other 2020s Pixar films, especially Turning Red and Soul. But for what it is, yes, there's good qualities about it. And I forgot to I forgot to include it in my slideshow here, but I still mentioned the Lilo and Stitch remake, which I've also seen, and definitely doesn't beat the original, but I don't know, it was watchable. And it's still weird how both of Chris Sanders' biggest animated movies, Lilo and Stitch and How to Train a Dragon, got live action remakes released in the same year. But the difference is that, you know, How to Train a Dragon's remake had the co-director Dean DeBoy be involved. Nice to hear that you watched Elio with your brother Norbert. Yeah, let's see here. Yes, Plus Boo said that if Johnny Bravo made a surprise comeback to TV, words can't describe how mind-blowingly amazing that would be. Yeah, especially since they aired the pilot episode as part of what cartoon, so I don't know, might as well air the show itself. It's not like every episode is about Johnny hitting on women. See, anything else? Alright, so going back to Checkered Past, Jason says it's because Adult Swim decided to give up their reruns of King of the Hill and Futurama again, meaning the channel has gaps in their schedule to fill. Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot that Adult Swim is removing those Fox shows from their schedule. So, yeah, it only took them for that reason to be like, yeah, let's rerun some classic Cartoon Network shows again. And yes, regarding the minor cast and fix, yeah, there are some veterans like Gray DeLisle and Kerry Walgreen, Fred Tatasciore, and Greg Berger, and yeah, also Darren Norris is in it as well. And speaking of Gray DeLisle, I hear that Jorge Gutierrez he's not only making a Speed Gonzalez movie, but also he has a new indie animated pilot that's out. It's currently animatic form, and it involves fighting these zombies and monsters, vampires, all that stuff. I haven't seen it yet. Oh, maybe I would, but yeah, Gray is basically in everything that Jorge has been in, as well as Carlos Alazraqui and Eric Balza. That's what TV Tropes calls a production posse. Okay, next thing. Okay, yes. I know you're gonna be excited for this one, Jason, and anybody else who is a fan of this show, Stu Go, which came out at the very beginning of the year 2025, like around January. Even though it had like a sneak peek a bit earlier than that, I think, in 2024, like towards the end of 2024, but January 2025 was when it was officially released. And yeah, thus far I've only seen like the first 10 episodes of Stu Go, and I have Jason to thank for further motivating me to be open-minded about checking it out. When I drew Francis and Marion for him as a commission last year. And yes, Francis is definitely my favorite character, along with Marion. So yeah, Stu Go, in case you haven't seen it, yes, unfortunately it's cancelled. And yeah, it's another Disney thing that people seem to have ignored because, ah man, more B-mouth slop. Why can't we get good original things? Well, how do you know it's good if you don't try it out? Yeah, like, there's an argument that they say they want more original products, more original productions, but they don't budget to watch it. They still want to cling on to the reboots and sequels and remakes and all that stuff. But yeah, I have given Stugo a chance, and I think it was a really good show. Like, I like the chemistry between the main cast of kids, and I said in the community tab that this is basically Gravity Falls meets Gilligan's Island meets Nerds and Monsters. What if you guys remember Nerds and Monsters, which was an obscure Canadian cartoon that aired on YTV? Definitely, definitely mention it in the chat. Yes, Norbert's saying that at least B-Mouth swap is greater than AI swap. Yes. Okay, so we got another Stugo fan, Daniel. Yes. And yeah, I do know that some of the Captain Flamingo people are behind Stugo, like at least on the Philippine side of things, because Captain Flamingo was animated in the Philippines, and so was Stugo, which was animated by Snippo, who has done lots of work for Disney TVA and Warner Bros. In among other studios in recent years. They don't always have the best reputation though. Like, I remember when there was a clip of a Garfield cartoon that was intended for Nickelodeon that leaked, and one of the clips was from Snippo. Like, the test footage was animated by Snippo, and people were mixed, to put it lightly, about it. Meanwhile, the last one, which we speculate is from Rough Draft Korea, has more bouncy, cartoony animation that's kind of in line with how SpongeBob's animation is now. And speaking of SpongeBob, like another thing I'll admit I forgot to include this slideshow, but yeah, the first theatrical SpongeBob movie since Sponge Out of Water, unless you want to count Sponge on the Run, which was released in Canada in theaters. Yeah, Search for SquarePants was released, but I haven't seen it yet, but the most I can say is that it looks decent. Hopefully it'll be better than the Sandy Cheeks movie, and Mark Hamill is doing a good job as the Flying Dutchman. Oh yeah, Phineas and Ferb, right. Yeah, Snipple worked on the Phineas and Ferb reboot, and yeah, that's another. Yes, as we continue with all these reboots, Phineas and Ferb got one. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't speak much about it. Other than that, there is something about Phineas and Ferb that I did see for sure last year that I'll get to soon. And yeah, I remember people talking about how both Phineas and Ferb's reboot and the King of the Hill reboot have a lot of rigged puppety animation, which, I don't know, like, considering the current, like, conditions of the animation industry, you kind of have to make sure that it's streamlined for the people to work on it just fine. Speaking of TV animation in 2025, we got Wild Pack, which this is a show that I only really seen the episode on YouTube, like the first episode of it, and it was pretty good, and I like its style. Like, it's from Kyle Marshall, who was previously from the Wild House, and he had another show of his own called The Free Amigonauts, which for some reason aired on like 5 different Canadian kids channels for a while. And that show looks distractingly similar to the Wild House, whereas this one, I don't know, you probably have to squint to see any Wild House similarities. But otherwise, I think it is Kyle Marshall's personal style that you could see here. And yes, and the only other notable thing about Wild Pack I want to talk about is how it had a Halloween special, and people were talking about how, I don't know, they have the 2 main characters warn viewers that this episode might be scary for the kids watching, and people are like, what? Are these kids cartoons today seriously wussy now? Like, we didn't need a warden before Courage the Cowardly Dog. We didn't need a warden for the King Ramses episode with all of his creepy CGI and all that. And yeah, I'll admit, it did give me flashbacks to how the Amphibia episode True Colors needed to have a disclaimer at the beginning, which was a last minute addition that Disney, or rather maybe iTunes did not pick up immediately, which is how True Colors got deleted. But that's an old story. But yeah, I don't know. Like, uh, I guess that, yeah, some say it's intended to be a reference to like how the early Treehouse of Horror episodes on The Simpsons would have Marge appear on the curtain and warn about the episode's scariness, which itself is a reference to the old Frankenstein movie. But I don't know. Apparently, that warning was a network mandated thing. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the most I have to say about Wild Pack. Other than that, maybe I'll get to more episodes of it, aside from like the first episode and like any sneak peek clips I saw of it prior. Yeah, let's see. See if there's anything else I'm missing. Oh yeah, I forgot, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Plus was coming out. Yeah, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse came back too, but then again, considering how much CGI preschool or Mickey Mouse stuff has been coming out in between the cancellation of the original Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and then like this new one, I don't know, it just feels like it never really went away. Oh, so David Feast was a storyboard artist on Search for SquarePants. Interesting, I didn't know that. I'm trying to wonder if he worked on any other Nickelodeon show. I don't know, I may be wrong, but it might be his first time he worked at Nickelodeon since the original Ren and Stimpy, because he's mostly known for his Cartoon Network stuff, like Cow and Chicken and I Am Weasel, and also working at Sony Pictures Animation, like included the Hotel Transylvania films, and also Open Season as well. And he even directed the fourth Open Season movie. And he also worked on the Despicable Me movies. I can't remember if he worked on all of them or the fourth one, which the fourth one included a cameo from Cow and Chicken, which it was a blink or you miss it sort of Easter egg, but I was able to catch it. Okay, Norbert, take care. Oh, plus Bruce says that Dave Feast also worked on the Beethoven cartoon, the intro to it. Interesting. Yeah, 1994. No, it's actually the next year that we got the Dumb and Dumber cartoon, and I know David was involved in that too. Like before he got his own show for Cartoon Network. And yes, I forgot to mention about the the other creator of Wild Pack, Paul Walton, who worked on several. His name is Paul Watwin, who worked on several other Canadian cartoons like Toad Drama and Atomic Betty and Captain Flamingo, and also Yin Yang Yo, which, yeah, I forgot that show is partially Canadian, isn't it? Okay, so here's Dogman. Let me know if you've seen Dogman. But then again, I think I already talked about it on my stream, talked about Animation Domination, and I might as well just reiterate my thoughts on it briefly. Yeah, so I saw this on Prime Video, and I thought it was a really cute movie, and I like Dogman himself, and also Petey, the villainous cat, and Little Petey, who is sort of his artificial offspring. I don't know, I might have to rewatch this movie. But yeah, it's maybe slightly less good than the Captain Underpants movie, but otherwise, I don't know, I just say that it's about par with it. Nothing to hate about it. Like, again, it's really cute, and even though, like, when it comes to my familiarity with Dave Pilkey's work, I mostly know him for Dragon, not so much for the book, but for the clay animated series I used to air on Trios TV when I was a kid. I know he's more famous for Captain Underpants, and Dogman seems to be his second most famous IP. Oh, I also forgot that Dave Pilkey also created the Dumb Bunnies, which, I don't know, I only see like maybe a bit of it as a kid, especially like Dogman's bit. It's okay. Oh yeah, Jason's saying that the Halloween episode of Wild Pack wasn't the first time a wholesome family sitcom had a warning prefacing a spooky season installment. Y'all remember Steffel from Family Matters? No, I don't. Like in general, I haven't really seen Family Matters, even though I should. I mean, it has Urkel in it. He's iconic, and also another actor who I know is in it is Joe Marie Payton, who is the voice of Sugar Mama on The Proud Family. And by the way, as a side note, I saw The Proud Family Wilder and Prouder season 3, and definitely great stuff. Even though I wish it had an even number of 10 episodes instead of 9 episodes for some reason. Okay, let's move on. Here we go. Yes, our boy is back. Fezzers McGraw from Wallace and Gromit. This is Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. Now, just like the day the Earth blew up, this is technically a 2024 film as it was released in Britain first, but it was released to more nations, included in North America, towards the beginning of 2025. Then that's where I saw it, and I really liked it. Like, there isn't a single Wallace and Gromit thing that I hate. To be fair, like, I don't think anybody could say that they hate a Wallace and Gromit thing. I don't know, maybe they'll say that this short isn't as good as the other short, but otherwise, all 4 of their main short films are great, and their previous feature-length film, Curse of the Red Rabbit, is also really good, and this one might be, I don't know, might be a teeny tiny bit better, or at least on par with it. Like, firstly, it's a sequel to what I'm sure a lot of us will agree is their best short, The Wrong Trousers, and Fezzers McGraw is definitely an iconic antagonist in the Aardman family. And one thing about it is that, speaking of Curse of the Rare Rabbit, I was surprised that I see that the officer from that movie was in Vengeance Most Foul as well, because, I thought he was created especially for Curse of the Rare Rabbit, therefore, they have to have permission from DreamWorks to include any characters from that film into any further Wallace and Gromit material. Just like how, like, when it comes to SpongeBob, they have to, Paramount owns rights to the characters made for the first movie, for instance. So yeah, so DreamWorks owns the rights to Lady Tottenton and Victor, I think that's his name, the hunter villain guy. And I assume they would have owned the rights to the officer, like the old bald officer with the mustache. But yeah, it was surprising to see him in here. And yeah, Vengeance Most Foul is also like kind of a good anti-AI sort of story as well. Oh, maybe not at, I don't know, I might put the Mitchells versus the Machines above it, but again, for a Wallace and Gromit movie, it is great. Like, everything they do is worth watching. And yes, Ben Whitehead, this is one of his major appearances as Wallace after the late great Peter Sallis passed away in 2007. And yeah, I don't know why I forgot about that detail, but yeah, he did do a good job as Wallace. Let's see if there's anything else. Let's see. If I've ever watched the Deputy Dog show. No, I haven't seen Deputy Dog, but I'm familiar with him, like, at least the basic image of him, but I don't know, I haven't seen any, like, cartoons with him yet. Oh, yeah, 2017. No, I missed that. Sometimes, like, when you sometimes get your teens wrong, get your teens mixed up with your O's, like, sometimes you say 2007 instead of 2017. Yes, thank you. But yes, moving on. Okay, probably won't be too long on this, but I know that recently made news as the biggest American animated feature film. Otherwise, the title of the highest grossing animated feature film of all time is the $2 billion Chinese hit Nausea 2, which I haven't seen yet, but I hear it's great. And similar with Zootopia 2, which I have not seen it, so no spoilers, but it is another Disney sequel that's part of the animated canon, which, I don't know, like, a part of me misses that they just stick to the sequels to the direct-to-video features, even though they don't do that anymore. But yeah, one thing about Zootopia 2 that I was optimistic about is that they finally have animal species that aren't mammals in here. Specifically, there's a snake in this movie. So I want to see how they deal with the inclusion of reptiles in the world of Zootopia. So you can still let me know your thoughts about this, but no spoilers. Oh yes, and Ethan's reminded me that the Skeleton Dance, the first Silly Symphony, went to the public domain in 2025. Yes, I really like that one. Uh, oh, hang on. Well, Jason's saying that, yeah, Curse of the Rare Rabbit is Armin's only movie for DreamWorks that Armin themselves own everything for, and Lady Tottenton appeared in a recent BBC Christmas bumper themed to Wallace and Gromit. Oh, thanks for the clarification, Jason. Wow, I'll admit, I did realize that. So I guess, yeah, you might have to elaborate. For example, what are the rights with how the rights between Chicken Run and Thrust Away, like how much of it DreamWorks owns, like beyond just distribution, and how much that Aardman actually owns. But yeah, thanks for the clarification regarding Curse of the Rare Rabbit. And, and yeah, with Yin Yang Yo being practically Canadian, yeah, it's because it was Disney outsourced it to Canada in for budgetary reasons. Ah, Inky, yeah, nice to have you here. Back from your homework. Yeah, so you see, I'm still here. So we're gonna be talking some more. And The Bad Guys 2. Yeah, speaking of animated movies that appeal to furries, we got The Bad Guys 2 over here, another sequel. And the first Bad Guys movie that I seen it, and I don't know, I can't say it's bad, and I won't go as far as say that's mediocre either, but I will say that, I don't know, it's watchable. It's solid. I might have to give it a closer look, but I do like its style, and again, this I haven't seen this sequel either, but feel free to let me know your thoughts, as long as there are no spoilers, because I might want to check it out. Nas T, welcome. Yes, he said that he hopes that Canadian animation rises up again, and hopes that Nelvana makes cartoons again. Yes, don't worry, I will. Don't worry, I will talk more about Nelvana. Okay, so this here is Common Side Effects, which is an Adult Swim show that premiered last year, although technically it had a sneak peek actually in 2024. I remember watching that sneak peek on an Adult Swim live stream where they had different sneak peeks of what they have to offer in like the coming months and the coming years. And Common Side Effects was one of them. And Mike Judge is a producer on it, and of course you know him from King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead, and I even heard his voice in it. He voices one of the characters, and yeah, he still has that Hank Hill charm in his voice acting. So otherwise I can't speak much for Common Side Effects, but I do know that it is very popular, like maybe not exactly up there with Smile and Friends in terms of popularity of newer Adult Swim shows, but still. And yes, and Jason's clarifying that for Chicken Run, it was handled internationally by Pathé, so Artman always had portions of the rights. Right. And Plus Boo said, they're the bad guys, duh. That was a Billy Eilish reference, I typed. Yes, a good reference too, but I don't know, that's a reference to one of Billie Eilish's songs, right? I don't know, I'm not awfully familiar with her aside from the fact that she helped write the songs for Turning Red, and that she is pretty popular in her own right. Okay, what else do we have here? Speaking of King of the Hill, yes, so even though I haven't seen any of the Phineas and Ferb reboot, mainly because it did come to Disney Plus immediately here in Canada. I have seen the first couple of episodes of the King of the Hill reboot, and yeah, I think it was pretty good, and with its first episode especially, it was pretty good at reintroducing the world of Arwen to like newcomers, and also reintroduced it to like people who are already familiar with the original series to some extent. And for sure, I have to get this out of the way. It is bittersweet knowing that this is not only the last time we hear Johnny Hardwick as Dale, but also the last time that we hear Jonathan Joss as John Redcorn. And I hear that Toby Huss is the current voice of Dale, and I don't think I've only seen the first two episodes of this reboot, so I haven't heard what his version of Dale sounds like. Hopefully it will be on par with Johnny Hardwick's performance. But yeah, the King of the Hill reboot was good. And also, on topic of the voice actors, it was nice to know that we got some new faces to the cast. Like, for one is Keith David, who I think voices the black guy in between Hank and Boomhauer. And also Gray the Wild's in it, voicing multiple characters, because, you know, it wouldn't be an animated cartoon with Gray the Wild in it if she didn't voice more than one character. And I actually heard about her involvement with the King of the Hill reboot, like, at a time when she shouldn't have opened her mouth and said anything. Like, I think that's how we know that this incarnation is going to follow in an adult version of Bobby. And I love how Bobby pretty much still has, you know, Pamela Adwan doing, like, a similar voice to, like, Bobby's 13-year-old self. And let's see. And yeah, with Gray being part of the cast of the new King of the Hill, like, even though he wasn't in the original, you know, yeah, I know, it's pretty common, like, you know, when you have like a series of old that comes back, you know, you're going to have some new people involved in addition to some old faces coming back. And that includes on the voice acting side of things. So Nas T loves common side effects, and it's not up there with Final Space, Smiling Friends, or Primal, but still a beautiful season. I can't wait for season 2. Yes, that's nice. And with Final Space, I'm hoping for that graphic novel that's concluding the cliffhanger ending will be coming out soon. Yes, Keith David is amazing. Like, I forgot that he was in Hazbin Hotel, but yeah, better remember him for his roles in The Princess and the Frog, and Gargoyles, and Coraline, and Final Space, as we were talking about. And some other things that I'm sure I am forgetting. Oh yeah, he was in the Mufasa movie, as well as, I think one of the White Lions. Okay, so before I talk about this, I want to read this comment from Jason, regarding the Fairy Odd Parents, that Chorus still has the early seasons of the Fairy Odd Parents in Nelvana's programming catalog. However, they no longer have international merchandising rights to the show, hence why Timmy Turner was able to make it to Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny after being snubbed in the Kart Racers and All-Star Brawl games. Yeah, but at least in between he was able to be in that tennis game. But yeah, you mentioned about those crossover games. I know Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny was one that came out last year. Obviously I didn't play it, but on the topic of crossovers, look here guys, it's Jellystone in the series finale episode in Crisis on Infinite Mirths. Yes, I've been excited for this ever since, you know, it was confirmed that it was gonna be coming out. And I think I first heard about it from the voice of Grimm, Greg Eagles, when he was teasing about a new project featuring the Billy and Mandy characters, which, I don't know, it might have been the canceled movie that Maxwell Adams pitched, but we weren't sure. And Maxwell himself said on his Tumblr that, you know, he had to look for some Billy and Mandy model seats for a new thing he was working on, which Again, I guess I thought it might have been the TV movie he was pitching, but I still doubted it. But it turns out it was for this. Because, and for the reason why he was looking for model seats, it's because, Cartoon Network doesn't do a good job archiving production material from their shows that aren't Adventure Time, which explains why their 25th anniversary exhibit in 2017 was a bit mid. But yeah, going back to this here, I actually saw this on Twitter. Yeah, the Hanna-Barbera Screen Caps page was able to upload this. I don't know, it might be taken down at this point, but I was able to see it, and yes, I really liked it, and a lot of other people liked it too. But then again, there are those who, okay, by the way, this is another show that Snipple Animation in the Philippines worked on, so a lot of people aren't too crazy about how, the animation is a bit slow and choppy on the characters, especially since a lot of the characters from Cartoon Network shows who are into like C.H. Greenblatt's take on the classic Hanna-Barbera characters, they felt like they kind of don't blend in too well. Although Chowder blends in just fine, since he was created by C.H. Greenblatt, along with Fred Fredberger. Yes. But yeah, I really enjoyed this crossover, and nice to see, including Evil Concarne got represented with Phil Lamar back as the voice of Hector. Even if it was just for one scene, I was happy that it was represented at all. So yeah, I love to hear your thoughts about this crossover. And also, you see Space Ghost in the background, and yes, don't worry, I will be mentioning about George Lowe into the memoriam segment. Oh yeah, the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Yeah, I have seen the teaser for it, Inky, and I think the funniest part about it is with Bowser. Jack Black's Bowser is amazing. And yeah, I thought it was weird that Todd Russell from Time Squad, he makes a cameo along with Larry 3000, and even though Rob Paulson's there as Major Glory, Major Glory from Dexter's Laboratory, by the way, Rob didn't get to voice Todd Russell. I don't know, maybe somewhere in the script or storyboards, Todd Russell had a line of dialogue, but it might have been cut out. And yeah, Boskov is in his Season 1 designs. His Season 1 colors and his Season 2 designs, which, yeah, that reminded me of how, in the Billy and Mandy episode where General Scar moves to Entville, he shows a picture of him and the rest of the Evil Concarne gang, and we see Boskov, yeah, they're all drawn in their Season 2 designs, but yeah, Boskov and Hector, they're in their Season 1 color palette. Yeah, it was kind of weird. And also, Major Dr. Gasly had colored outlines like how he did in the episode Ultimate Evil, while the other characters they have black outlines. I still don't know what was up with that. And yeah, I'm not too surprised that Maxwell Adams, who's the director of this crossover, of course, he went with Hector and Boskov Season 2 designs, because that is how he thinks Season 2 is the best of Evil Concarne, and even when he doodles the characters, like when he's signing the stuff that he's selling on eBay, whether it's the DVDs or posters, he would draw the Evil Concarne characters in their Season 2 designs, since that's when he was most satisfied with the series. Yeah, I'm hoping that Billy and Mandy will get a complete series release, though, honestly. And yeah, I forgot, Keith David was the president in Rick and Morty as well. Oh, and Gary in the SpongeBob episode Chatterbox Gary. Yes, Keith David is a legend, and yeah, I think he got a Hollywood star on the Walk of Fame, and congratulations to him. Or at least it's still pending. I don't know, you can let me know. Kristen's here. Welcome. Yes, Kristen is saying that he enjoyed the day the Earth blew up and he has it on Blu-ray. And he says that he's acting about a 2001 CGI Ninja Turtles pilot. Yeah, I think I remember you posting clips about it on your channel, Kristen. And yeah, Keith David was Shredder and Phil Lamar was Splinter. Yeah, I remember that. Yes. Yeah, thanks for reminding me, Kristen. And yeah, Gator Freaks has reminded me of what I said in my Truth About Good and Evil video about how it may be due to like Rough Draft Korea, uh, the, the second season of Evil Concarne had a different style, was instead animated by Digital E. Mason, and which took over from Billy and Mandy later on. And yeah, Maxwell said on his Tumblr that, Rough Draft Korea was busy with a lot of other Cartoon Network shows, especially Samurai Jack, so that's why he had Digital E. Mason go work on Evil Concarne while Rough Draft worked on Billy and Mandy for a bit longer until like season 4 or 5 I think season 4 they bailed out and now it's all Digital E. Mason. Okay, what else do we have here? Ah yes, Nelvana. Okay, so Canadian animation has seen like a kind of a dark day in that Nelvana was okay, maybe not too dark because Nelvana still exists, but more in a Hanna-Barbera sort of way in that they are, an in-name only brand in order to distribute their programs and all of their legacy stuff. But they halted production on they halted production on new production. They halted production on new shows or specials or whatever. So yeah, when I first heard about it, I was really devastated. But then the mood was lightened slightly when I heard that they're not going away completely. Their spirit still lives on in name only form. But nevertheless, Nelvana is currently a shell of what it once was, and Canadian, like, kids media in general, like the stuff that I grew up with and other Canadians grew up with, and also some non-Canadians, because, obviously, a lot of you guys watching this channel are American, and you saw Nelvana's programs at various places. Yeah, they are a key part of providing nostalgic childhood memories, and and also not to mention their logo. Like, this is my favorite one here from 1995 with the polar bear outline zooming out in a flash and a space background and a comet flying. I absolutely love that logo. And let's see. Oh, Dr. Jazzman, welcome. Yeah. So yeah, you missed out on like a lot of the 2025 highlights that I talked about, but well, I'm currently talking about Nelvana and Gator Freaks its accent. Who are my favorite voice actors who worked on their shows aside from Chewie Lemieux and Rob Tickwer? Oh, there's various ones like Tracy Moore, who's from George Strait's Ned's Newt, Flying Rhino Junior High, and even though it's not a Nelvana show, there's also Anne of Green Gables that she was in. And, oh, yeah, I just remember she's also the geek in Sam and Max Freelance Police. Yeah, so Tracy Moore is one of our favorite underrated voice actor. Like, there's a lot of them. And also Ron Rubin, who is also from Flying Rhino Junior High, who I absolutely love as Radicus, who was the Green Rat, who was the sidekick to the main antagonist Earl P. Sidebottom, aka the Phantom. And yeah, Radicus is my favorite character. And yeah, the Backyardigans review that I did, High Tea, yeah, it was a little tribute to it because, I was still in production on that review for Norbert when the news broke that Nelvana was gonna be diminished. And Jason said that speaking of the Backyardigans, it appears that Curse decided to sell Nelvana's ownership of that show, meaning Nickelodeon now has full rights. The show's old Nelvana Upgrade channel is now managed by Nick. Oh, that's cool. Now, I don't know if I noticed that like during the production of my High Tea review or if that was something that happened after, but yeah. Oh yeah, Night of the Zoopocalypse. That was another movie that came out in 2025, but I think I just read that movie as background noise, so otherwise I have not seen it fully to have a real opinion. oh, Ron Rubin was Quantum Vigilante, who was Milo's hero, his idol, in fact, in Captain Flamingo. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Okay, speaking of the Backyardigans, yes, okay. So, ended my 2025 slideshow on a high note. It's the fact that we have received a high number of pilots that were found. And yeah, that's definitely something that I mentioned in the high tea review, that yes, me and my friends being discovered finally was one of the motivations for that review being ordered in the first place. And yeah, I said in the review that, I don't know, the pilot was kind of mid, but it was still nice that we got it rediscovered at all. But, you know, the Backyardigans fan, the Backyardigans fandom wiki is still, like, infamous for having a gatekeeper reputation, and you can find L Supersonic Q's videos about this whole me and my friends mystery. But you know, this is not the only pilot that was found. There's also the Family Guy pilot from 1998, which is basically a rougher version of the actual first episode, Death Has a Shadow, which apparently was sitting on some guy's portfolio, like an animator named, I think he was an animator, yeah, named Robert Paulson. Not to be confused with the voice actor Rob Paulson, but this is Robert Paulson. But yeah, like the full Family Guy pilot was just sitting around on its website. It was only in last year, it was like, oh cool, we found it. And also, this is where we go back to Phineas and Ferb, and that I have seen the pilot version of the roller coaster episode, and that also motivated me to like make a popular drawing of Candace, Phineas, and Ferb in their honestly kind of unappealing, weird color palettes, which I'm glad that they changed, because you know, maybe not everybody who is like an animator or character designer is, you know, 100% an expert on color choices. And that's why color stylists and color designers are like separate positions in the industry. But you know, I'm glad that, you know, it was, I don't know if it was Dan or Swampy who decided to change their colors, or maybe somebody with better knowledge on like color theory. But yeah, the Phineas and Ferb pilot, it was like, most of it wasn't animatic, but it was, at least the scene at the very end was fully animated. And that was the scene that was trending, and that's how I found out from the Wacky Deli, who you know is a really good cartoon reviewer. He posted the clip, they posted the clip on Twitter, and it was blowing up. And yeah, of course I had to like do that funny drawing there. And of course that's not the only one. There are others that, oh, let's see. Inky's asking, what episode of Dexter's Lab is playing in the background? Hang on. Let's see. Okay, so it's the one where Dexter basically turns invisible. Let's see. So yeah, the Phineas and Ferb pilot was cool to experience, and you know, there are other pilots too that were rediscovered. There was the Jimmy Two Shoes pilot, there was the Drawn Together pilot, there was the Dora the Explorer pilot, and there are some others that I'm sure. Oh yeah, the Real Monsters pilot, and just recently if I knew this sooner, I would have mentioned it in my high tea review, but Pinky Dinky Doo apparently had a lost pilot that was found last June. Wow, I'm like, we were so focused on the rediscovery of me and my friends and the Phineas and Ferb pilot that, you know, I totally missed on the fact that Pinky Dinky Doo had a lost pilot. And yeah, if anybody remembers that show, please let me know. I think it's gonna be 20 years old this year. Like, I enjoyed it as a kid. At least before they redesigned the characters. I know it's a subtle redesign, but I still noticed it as a kid. And yes, Jason is reminded us that the Family Guy pilot was technically released on the Volume 2 DVD, but only the first half of it. But 2025, that's when we got the rest of it. Yes. And I forgot the reason why the full pilot wasn't released. I think it had something to do with yeah, I think it had to do with a studio that helped Seth MacFarlane with making the pilot, which he otherwise Seth animated it in his kitchen, I hear. But he had like another studio to like help out with like coloring it and maybe like scan it into the computer, like get everything together. And oh, there's some legal issues. Like you could, if anybody remembers about those details, you could clarify about that. So yes, so that's Jason remembers Pinky Dinky Doo, as does Nas T. And yes, I'm hoping that the Captain Flamingo half-hour specials that were lost will be found. And I'm hoping that the Proud Family pilot will be found as well. Like, if me and my friends could be found, and there's all this gatekeeping that prevented it from being public, then what excuse does the Proud Family pilot have? And yeah, the reason for the Pinky Dinky Doo redesigns is because, wow, the first season was done in Flash. The second season was animated with CGI that imitates flat 2D. Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, I did not know that it was technically CGI. Like, so it's kind of like with South Park, which they animated in Maya, while otherwise it looks like the old paper cutouts that started the basis of the show's look ever since the pilot episode and also those Christmas shorts. And let's see. Here. Yeah, Inky's asking how many pilots were still found in 2025. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think it's like that scene in Spy with Friends where Charlie's like, how many people like killed this guy? Like, I think it's in the episode where the the owner of their favorite fast food restaurant was murdered and they have to figure out the mystery. Yes. Yes, Jason say that in regards to the ridiculous shirts for me and my friends, to quote a famous little black duck, was that trip really necessary? And yes, Pinky Dinky Doo was created by Jim Jenkins, who did Doug, which is gonna be 35 years old soon, and Stanley, which is 25 years old this year, I believe, and PB&J Otter. Like, basically Jim Jenkins, like, he pretty much played a part and created my childhood, since I grew up with all of his shows except for Doug and Allegra's Window. I haven't seen Doug until maybe my early teen years, and Allegra's Window I still haven't seen an episode of at all. But otherwise, JoJo Circus and Stanley and PB&J Otter and Pinky Dinky Doo, and also the Global Siggy shorts on Sesame Street, as well as the Richard Scary specials that he did, at least one of them that I remember seeing. Yeah, like all of those I've seen. And one thing from Jim Jenkins I should check out is that weird adult cartoon that he did. What's it called again? Something another Sports Bender, which was a cartoon that he made in cooperation with Sony Wonder and ESPN. Yeah, I remember watching like a whole review about it some time ago. Oh yeah, Horrid Henry's another pilot that was found. And Handy Mandy 2, I remember, I see Daniel is bringing up the Handy Mandy pilot. Yeah, again, like if I knew that, I would have mentioned it in my high tea review. Oh yeah, Webber's Window left Paramount Plus in 2023. And yeah, that reminds me, like, As Told by Ginger left in 2025, like, this last month. And yeah, that show too is hard to find. Like, man, I knew I should have Ginger when I was hoping that please don't remove As Told by Ginger, but yep, they did. So now, like, you can't watch the show unless you pirate it, and even then, like, you mostly have to find those old TV recordings that are mostly from the Australian feed of Nickelodeon. So yeah, I hope this means that we'll get a DVD of Ginger soon with all of the episodes. So yeah, what a way to end Ginger's 25th anniversary year. And yes, Ginger, exactly. And I think this month marks the anniversary of Ginger being added to Paramount Plus, or back when it was known as CBS All Access in the first place. Yeah, Hoyt and Andy's sports better. Yeah, I remember the first name, but I forgot about the second one, Andy. Yes, yes. Thanks for reminding me, Gator Freaks. Okay, so let me shut off this TV, and right now I want to take a little time to talk about, oh, maybe probably around 9 o'clock I'll finish. But yeah, I'll take a little time to talk about what happened around this channel here for in 2025. Well, for one, I reached a milestone of 10,000 subscribers, and I want to thank you all for tuning in and showing that support for all those years. Like, it's something that has been 10 years in the making to reach that goal, and thank you very much. And let's see if we'll, I don't know, this may or may not be the official announcement for it, but let's look forward to the road of 15,000 subscribers. Yes. And I asked you guys, what was your favorite video of 2025 that I did, aside from Classic Local Remake Party 7, which I know that was a great one to work out, and I enjoyed how it turned out, and I know you guys loved it, but maybe something a bit less obvious. And the one that came up the most is the video I did about big screen shorts based on small screen tunes. And yeah, that was a passion project that I enjoyed working on. In general, I enjoy working on those sort of cartoon essay type videos, you know, those retrospective anthologies as I call them. And yeah, I don't blame you when you say that's your favorite, while some of you guys say it's your favorite, and I'm so grateful for the success of it. In fact, I'm gonna be showing a clip for those who haven't seen it. It's gonna be kind of a sample, but for sure you could go look for it, the full video. So yeah, gonna be so you guys a clip right now. Obviously, Timon and Pumbaa were born as movie stars, being my favorite characters in my favorite Disney animation film, the original Lion King. But this short film starring the two isn't just a simple reminder of the 1994 film's roaring success. It is specifically based on the Meerkat and Warthog duo's screwball TV series for the Disney Afternoon syndication block. I'm typically not too crazy about the Disney Afternoon lineup of shows compared to the more underrated One Saturday Morning cartoons, but The Lion King's Timon and Pumbaa, as it's formally titled, is easily my favorite out of the bunch. If you want a good Ren and Stimpy substitute from Disney, but don't want to bother with Snookums and meat, then the Timon and Pumbaa series is a perfect choice. Going back to this particular short, as you may have guessed, it features Timon, voiced not by Nathan Lane, but rather one of his two stand-ins, Kevin Sean, singing the Ben E. King song, Stand By Me, made popular by the 1986 movie of the same name. The amusement factor comes from the irony of the physical gags that happens to our poor pal Pumbaa, contradicting Timon telling his warthog chum that the latter will be safe and sound so as long as he, quote, stands by the former. A part of my mind wonders if this would work better if Timon was the butt of these random unfortunate events instead of the more sweethearted Pumbaa, given how Timon is the jerkier half of the duo, such he'd often get what's coming to him. But that's a nitpick with an inability to distract me from the overall visual beauty of Stand By Me. Back in the 90s, Disney had quite a few satellite studios across the globe to work on production of their animated TV series, direct-to-video features, and even some of their theatrical movies. One of the most lauded of such divisions was Walt Disney Animation Australia, and justifiably so. This 3-minute Timon and Pumbaa short alone is a perfect example of their specialty in fluid and precise character animation on an above-average TV budget. The regular series, including the episodes animated in Australia, already contains some beautiful animation that is acceptable enough for a theatrical presentation, but Stand By Me just expands upon such beauty, especially with the aid of the nighttime lighting. Honestly, I sense a small competition between this and Fetch for the title of best looking short discussed in this video. But overall, this is some great directional work from Steve Moore, an underrated animation veteran whose credits also include animating on the now 30-year-old cult classic A Goofy Movie, directing the Christmas classic Olive the Other Reindeer, and making this unique Red Riding Hood parody for Disney, which I'd love to give my extended thoughts on someday. Now, fans of the Timon and Pumbaa series may know that this isn't the only music video they sung on it. The duo performed other songs, including the infamous one that got Disney into legal trouble, but Stand By Me was the lucky one to receive a big screen release attached to Tom and Hook, which happens to star young Simba himself, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Admittedly, however, its position as a primary short to highlight in this retrospective is a bit of a cheat because it actually aired as a segment on the TV show 2 months earlier. To add more confusion, if you were to go on Disney Plus to watch it, the theatrical cut of Stand By Me with its full credits rolling next to the singing frogs is shown, instead of the music video version that this Timon and Pumbaa half hour was typically presented with. Either way, I can't see why there wouldn't be any intentions to create this short for theaters first. The production value is just so darn good here. It's too bad this wasn't among the few segments of Timon and Pumbaa where Nathan Lane actually got to reprise his role as the meerkat. I'm sure the budget for Stand By Me could have afforded him, but Kevin was indeed a good singer regardless. I don't know what else to say other than to check out this short if you're a Lion King fan, and to watch the Timon and Pumbaa series in general in case you haven't. Yes, and as Gator Freaks has predicted, yes, I did include the Stand By Me segment of my big screen shorts based on small screen tunes video in dedication to Roger Allers, the co-director of the original Lion King, and we'll definitely be getting to the memoriam segment in a moment. And I just want to mention that originally I was going to include my discussion about the cat dog short Fetch because based on the comments I estimated that Fetch was the most beloved of the 5 shorts that I talked about in that video. But again, because of the sudden news about Roger Allers passing away, and how much I love the Lion King, I decided to make that last minute swap to have the Timon and Pumbaa portion be featured as a clip instead. Oh yeah, and Mark Brown's gonna be turning 80 years old. Oh, that is cool to know, Jason. Yeah, and Arthur itself is gonna be 50. Yeah, the books are gonna be 50, and the series is gonna be 30 years old, along with another great slice of life cartoon, Hey Arnold. Like, a lot of great anniversaries to look forward to regarding my favorite cartoons, including the ones in 2001, like Fairly Odd Parents being 25, as well as Grim and Evil, and The Proud Family, and Time Squad, and Braceface, and I guess Invader Zim too. I'm a bit more casual with Invader Zim, but I will acknowledge its anniversary too. But yeah, 2001 in general is a golden year for animation, even on the theatrical side, like with Shrek and Monsters Inc. and the original Jimmy Neutron movie, and even though I'm not too crazy about it, there's also Atlantis: The Lost Empire that should be acknowledged. Oh yes, and 20th anniversary of Captain Flamingo in terms of 2006 stuff. Also the 20th anniversary of, The Replacements, if anybody cares about that show. What's episode Dexter's playing now? Oh yeah, it's DDBD. Yeah, the episode where Dexter tries to stop Dee Dee's annoying voice. This is also Chris Savino's first episode as a board artist. Yes, I know Chris's own run of the series is infamous for being annoying, including annoyingly tedious. Like, we all know the episode where Dexter's dad is playing golf for just one single camera angle of him taking sweet time. But yes, okay, I think I'll be here for 10 minutes more, so let's get into the memoriam portion of the stream. Oh, no, get out of here. We already talked about you guys. There we go. Yes, in memoriam. Well, obviously, every year is going to see some unfortunate losses. Here are the ones that have died in 2025, and please remind me of any who I may be missing. Since I mentioned Fairly Odd Parents and Jimmy Neutron, like I know their deaths are still first on people's minds. There was Jeff Garcia, who was voice of Sheen on Jimmy Neutron, and Jim Ward, the voice of Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome, and Chet You Betcha on Fairly Odd Parents. Yeah, they both died the same day last month, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, it broke a lot. It broke a lot of us. And another voice actor death who was very disappointing is George Lowe, who is Space Ghost and Space Ghost Coast to Coast and its related spin-offs. Like, also Gary Owens, I respect him as a voice actor in his own right, like with his version of Space Ghost, but George Lowe really was vital in making Space Ghost be more than just a 60s superhero character who a lot of people did remember, then turned him into like one of the best talk show hosts who has ever been on TV, rivaling the likes of Conan and Letterman and Leno. And yes, Jim Ward was also Captain Quark in the Ratchet and Clank franchise, which, yeah, like, last year was when I reviewed the short based on the games, Life of Pi, and I mentioned about Jim's health conditions, and I wouldn't expect that same year to be when he actually died. And another voice actor or voice actress is Ruth Buzzy, who I best remember for appearing on Sesame Street. She was Ruthie during the Around the Corner era of the show, which was seasons 25 through 29, and she was the voice of Susie Cabruzzi, who was one of my introductions to Mo Willems' style, like before I got into Sheep in the Big City and before I knew him as a children's book author and illustrator as well, and also being the voice of Mama Bear in the 80s Berenstain Bears cartoon, which I really loved the Messy Room episode of that series. And around the same time as Ruth Buzzy passing away was Jim Smith. Like, that is one of the animator passings that really hit me hard because I love Ren and Stimpy. And it's one of my influences, and Jim Smith is perhaps the best artist of the four big shots who founded Spumco. Like, just as good as Bob Camp and Len Naylor. And fine, I guess, even though we don't really like him as a person, John Kay was a good artist at one point. And yes, there's also Guy Moon. He died this year, but definitely somebody who is vital to Fairly Odd Parents who I should acknowledge, and that is another death that really struck me hard as a fan of Fairly Odd Parents and most of Butch Hartman's other productions and the other stuff he worked on, including the early Grim and Evil segments of Billy and Mandy. And yes, famous filmmaker David Lynch, known for his series Twin Peaks and also his weird logos like Asymmetrical, and for voicing the bartender from the Cleveland show Gus. Oh yes, and Marcel Trachtenberg, who was Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Harriet the Spy, and Colin Fox, a voice actor who voiced Maximus IQ in Atomic Betty, and Tony Bennett, who is a writer and a character designer at Hanna-Barbera, and he's not the only Hanna-Barbera legend we lost that year. I believe we also lost Jerry Eisenberg as well, who also did Yoink of the Yukon, which was a pilot that was part of the What a Cartoon show. And yes, I almost forgot, David Stephen Cohen, who is the head writer of Courage the Cowardly Dog, responsible for many iconic episodes, including one of my personal favorites that I don't think is talked about as much as, say, King Ramses' Curse or the Mask, but he did. One of my favorite episodes he wrote was The Curse of Shirley, which explores Eustace's grumpiness, and it's so the part where for once in his life he shows some genuine care for someone other than himself, even though spoilers for an episode that's over 25 years old is technically a reflection in which he sees his younger self in the mirror. But yes, that's David Stephen Cohen, best remembered for his Courage work and also for Arthur and oh yeah, he worked on Kenny the Shark. I haven't seen that show yet. And also Tiny Toons and Balto as well. And who else? Paddy Maloney, who voiced Tanis the Mummy in Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School. Yeah, I know that's probably the most popular of the 80s Scooby-Doo movies that were made for TV. And I know the Ghoul School characters made an appearance on OKKO because, you know, Ian Jones-Cordy's such a great animation nerd, he had to get them on. Oh, speaking of school, the Magic School Bus to be exact, Malcolm Jamal Warner, who you know is who appears as the producer on the Magic School Bus, and is also known for his roles in The Cosby Show and other projects. Oh, I just remembered, we were mentioning about Hey Arnold earlier, and I just remember about the voice of Mr. Wynn. He passed away, like, I found out about it at the last minute, like months after he passed, and for sure I made sure to rewatch Arnold's Christmas as in dedication to him. And another voice actor who I didn't know passed away until later was Tristan Rogers, like, who I best remember as Jake from The Rescuers Down Under, which is my top pick for most underrated Disney movie. For sure I rewatched that one, like, on the year that turns 35 years old. And Alf Clausen, yes, I totally forgot. How could I forget about Alf Clausen? Yes, the composer of The Simpsons and The Critic and other projects. Yeah, and he did a great first impression doing the score in the first Treehouse of Horror special, and also like the many episodes to come from 2000 from up until 2017. I think that's when he left. And yes, Renee Victor, the voice of Abuelita from Coco, as he also appeared in the recent Futurama episode, The One Amigo. Oh yeah, that's cool, yeah. And John Redcorn's voice actor, Jonathan Joss. Yeah, it's really tragic how he passed away. And also Mark Sortin, who was the director on Total Drama and the co-creator of GarageBand, and also along with Todd Kaufman was one of the major Canadian character designers of Clone High, whereas a lot of the American character designs are credited to Kerry Yost and Dexter Smith, and as I talked about in my Time Squad review, Dave Watson. And who else am I forgetting? Yes. Oh yes, Ozzy Osbourne. Yes, I think he's the guy who gave us the Crazy Train song, and that one is memorable. And yeah, I remember when you expressed your love for GarageBand an awful amount, Jason, and your favorite character was, I think it's Lainey? Is that her name? The redhead girl? Oh yes, Lonnie Anderson, who voiced Flo in All Dogs Go to Heaven, right. And I believe she's better known for being in, I forgot what sitcom she was in, but yes, I totally forgot that she was in All Dogs Go to Heaven. Isn't it crazy that pretty much everyone in the voice cast in All Dogs Go to Heaven is gone now? And it's the same deal with The Rescuers Down Under. Basically everybody except for Frank Welker and the boy who voiced Cody are no longer with us. And also we don't want to change anything regarding those two, especially Frank Welker, who is thankfully still with us. Oh yes, and Philippe Vidal, who was a director on The Garfield Show and Miss BG. Yes, I heard about that passing on Twitter. Yes, and Nancy Lee Mayat, who wrote on Recess, Teacher's Pet, and Lloyd in Space, like 3 of the best shows of Disney's One Saturday Morning. And I'm trying to remember who else did lead Rose last year. I'm trying to remember. Oh yes, Drew Struzan. Yes. Okay, yeah, Lainey is her name. Yes, and Drew Struzan, who was a very famous poster artist, painted many iconic posters for movies, especially for Steven Spielberg and for Jim Henson. He did like the some of the Muppet movie posters. Okay, so Jason's saying that regarding Alf Clausen, Hans Zimmer, who composed the Simpsons movie score, replaced him as composer, then through his own music studio, Bleeding Fingers Music. Is it related to Bleeding Gums Murphy? But yeah, I forgot that Bleeding Fingers Music was related to Hans Zimmer. So yeah, I guess now Hans Zimmer has replaced is now a full-time Simpsons composer if you want to get technical. Oh yes, and Frowley, who uh, Ace Frowley, who was part of Kiss. Yes, and all of the members of Kiss guest starred in the iconic first Family Guy Christmas episode. You know, the one where Peter wants to watch his Christmas special, Kiss Saves Santa, which, you know. Oh yeah, I forgot. Diane Keaton, another famous actress who passed away. She was she was in the Netflix Green Eggs and Ham series. Oh, well, you know, I only see the first season of that like 5 years ago. I don't know. I didn't even remember. I didn't even remember that she was in it. What episode is on now? Oh, alright, see. Let's see if I can pull up my episode guide here. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think it's down in the dumps. Yeah, I think it's the one where Dee Dee's teddy bear is stuck in the garbage machine. Or the garbage truck, rather. Oh yes, how can I forget? As Simpsons and King of the Hill and Missing Hill writer Dan McGrath, who on The Simpsons he wrote episodes like he wrote the Treehouse of Horror segment, the Devil and Homer Simpson, as well as the other Treehouse of Horror segment. I think it's called Time and Punishment. You know the one with Homer and the toaster. And as for full-length episodes, he wrote Bart of Darkness and also Boy Scouts in the Hood. Yeah, and I remember my tweet about Dan McGrath, and I said that it was a sampling of his work for The Simpsons, but no, like all 4 images are literally everything that he wrote for that show. He wrote more episodes of King of the Hill, in fact. And if you want to listen to an interview with Dan, you could go to the Talkin' Simpsons YouTube channel or wherever else you can find that podcast, and you could listen to Bob and Henry's interview with Dan McGrath. It was previously a Patreon exclusive, but obviously in memory of Dan, they made it free. Oh, thanks for reminding me, Frank Gehry, who was a famous architect who I remember from the Arthur episode, Castles in the Sky. Yes, the first episode, it was Cookie Jar Entertainment was credited for producing the show. Yeah, Frank Gehry is one of those celebrities who I remember for their Arthur appearance, but that's how I was introduced to him. And Billy Zeitz, who was a Canadian animator who worked on Ed, Edd and Eddy as a storyboard artist, and he worked on an obscure cartoon called The Minor Leagues, which is about these birds playing baseball. Yes, and T.K. Carter, who was the voice of one of the Monstars in Space Jam, the first one, and also was Sledgehammer Opossum in the second Sledgehammer Opossum short from the What a Cartoon Show. Otherwise, he's known for his roles in The Thing and Punky Brewster, among other things. And Gordon Goodwin, yes, I practically dedicated my last Christmas stream to him when I was drawing Yosemite Sam as the Ghost of Christmas Present, because he composed the score for Bah Humduck, A Looney Tunes Christmas, and other productions for Warner Bros. Animation. And Tom Jacobson, and I didn't realize that he passed away until I watched Animation Hustle's YouTube short about a scene that Todd animated for Family Guy that ultimately had to be cut, even though it's one of the more fluidly animated moments in the show's history. And yes, and in terms of recent deaths this month, yeah, I mentioned T.K. Carter, and also Guy Moon, and also Roger Ellis, the director of The Lion King, which is my favorite Disney animated canon film, and Open Season, which may not be among Sony Pictures' best, but it's fine. And yes, overall we lost several great voice actors last year, and I don't know if there's any more that I missed. Probably you could leave it in the comments, but I'll leave it at rest in peace to all of the legends who have been gone too soon. Or maybe if they saw their passings coming, especially if they're at a really old age, but still unfortunate. But on the bright side, at least we know somebody like Dick Van Dyke was able to reach 100 years old last December. So yeah, that means I'm gonna have to be wrapping up the stream now. And thank you guys for tuning in to this casual chat, and hopefully I'll be able to do another stream soon. And for sure, in the meantime, stay tuned for any other projects that I have in store to upload, whether it be short videos or longer videos. Yeah, this is technically my first video of the year, even though it's a live stream. But yeah, stay tuned for more reviews, maybe more animations, and whatever other good stuff that I have planned for the rest of this month and for 2026 as a whole. And again, let's see if we'll reach that 15,000 subscriber goal this year. So yeah, thank you all for joining. And yes, Inky, I already mentioned about Jeff Garcia. Once again, rest in peace to all who we lost in 2025. But at the same time, we should be thankful for any of the good things that we got that year. So yes, thank you all for watching, and have a great rest of your 2026. Have a nice, safe one, to be exact. And actually, there's something that I forgot to mention. It's kind of related to the Canadian animation discussion that I did earlier with Nelvana. But thankfully, I have a clip of it in store, and it is regarding a beloved kids channel that I am nostalgic for. Yeah, I'm gonna show it, but in the meantime, take care, everybody.
This now concludes our broadcast day. Good night from family.